I teach second grade at West Ottawa Public Schools, which is in Holland, Michigan. We've had BenQ Boards. I've had one in my room for the past 3 years. So I was one of the pilot teachers, one of the first people in the district, so no pressure, right, to figure it all out and see if we wanted to implement them. And now at West Ottawa Public Schools, we have one in every single classroom. So our special teachers have them, our core support teachers have them, everybody has a board. And this is the first year that we've rolled that out. And so it's been really fun because I'm one of the tech leaders in our building too. So it's fun to get those frantic, coming in and teach me how to do this, teach me how to do that. So there's a lot of things you can do with it. And my kids are 7 and 8 years old, and there's a lot of stuff that they've taught me from the boards as well. So the first thing I tell the kids is it's basically just a really big tablet. Just think of it as a big tablet. You can touch it, and as soon as I say that, they're like, oh yeah, I have an iPad at home, or I have a tablet at home. I know how to use this. So I'm going to share with you guys some ways that I've used it in my classroom with my 7 and 8 year olds, but then you could use it in so many different ways in other capacities as well. So one of my favorite things to do with my board is use it for some writing supports. So what I love about this is I can use it right within the board itself. There's an application called EZWrite. So it's a whiteboard. You can put things into there, a template if you create it. You can put literally just drag and drop pictures from Google. If I'm like all of a sudden like, you don't know what that is? Okay, hold on, let me look it up really quick. And now we have that image support as well. So most of my students are English learners. Almost all of my students speak Spanish at home. And so there's certain things that just come up in conversation that you realize like, oh, you don't know what that looks like. And you're like, okay, hold on just a second. We're gonna type that up, we're gonna look and we're gonna drag it over. So some of it's like, the best laid plans, and then all of a sudden in the moment you're like, you don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, we better figure that out. So then I start dragging those things over and then do a lot of labeling, a lot of, okay, we need to spell this, we need to put a sentence starter, and then there it is. And then the board itself will auto-save any of these boards that you make. So you can save your boards and come back to them each day. So the nice thing about that is then kids who maybe are more reluctant writers or just don't have those skills set yet, they can walk over to the board and say, okay, I know that our writing slide was slide 2. They can be independent, click slide 2, and then all of this is saved for them. So they can come back to it, and like my kids have full autonomy with the board. Like they know if I'm running a small group, they don't have to ask, they just walk up, click through, find what they need. And they're really good about they'll have like a little line forming over there, like, okay, my turn next, I need this one. So it's nice because I do like ketchup and pickles every day. So I have like, okay, you have to do these activities first, and then you can pick one of these. So sometimes the ketchup is like, finish up your writing from last week, or go back to small group work from yesterday. And so it's like they might all be working on different things, but they can walk over and know like, okay, if it's not on slide 1 or 2, then I'll keep clicking through. There also is like a little button on the bottom that they can like see a like mini version of all of the different things that we have on EZWrite, which is pretty cool. So when we learn new things in writing like onomatopoeia, that's really exciting for the kids to find them in their books. They can walk up, they can use, we have these little pens. So they have this. My kids really like, because they're 7 and 8 years old, you can assign colors to the different tips. So like that's really a big incentive for them to be like, okay, I'm red and you're purple. And so if you use the different sides of them, then they can choose those two and write at the same time, but they also can just write with their fingers. So it's nice because there's not a limit of like, okay, we're all waiting in one line to touch the board. It's like, I have kids in this space, I have kids over here, I have kids on this side. And you can even break it up. Like sometimes I'll have like different teams and you can split the board. Where then, okay, team 1 is writing on this far left column, I have a team in the middle, a team on the side, and they can all access it at the same time. So it's just been great for building that independence for the kids too. And even for some of my like lowest, most reluctant readers, my most reluctant students, like they can feel that confidence boost that comes from like, oh, I know how to do this. And just after they try it a couple of times, being able to come back to it, which is pretty cool. This was a March is Reading Month. Every year we do a different theme. So this year our theme was around the book The Paletero Man, which is this man and he's selling popsicles out of his cart. And a lot of the kids had some shared stories of like, oh, when I was visiting my grandparents in Mexico, like we saw a paletero man, or like in Cuba, we have a paletero man. So that was really cool. And then we do a little like writing competition. So every grade level can choose to participate if they want to. It's not mandatory, but it's just fun. And so this was some sentence starters that we had on the board that the kids could use and run with. And then I just told the kids like, okay, throw some words at me that you want to use in your writing. Let's get them all on there. And then that's helping kids who maybe don't have the vocabulary yet. Like some of my English learners, like they just don't know the word for it yet. And so we can talk about like, okay, what is this? What are sprinkles? And then another kid will be like, oh, on top of an ice cream cone, there's little pieces of candy on the top, and sometimes they're rainbow, and we talk about that. And so that's a lot of fun too. So then this is something they can come back to. I do a lot of labeling on the board too. So like pulling in, like this was one that I just pulled from Google. I pulled it over to the whiteboard and I'm like, okay, let's start saying What do we notice? Okay, there's some character shapes on here. We see something called rocket pops. Like the kids thought that was the coolest thing when one kid's like, I know what those are called. Those are called rocket pops. And I'm like, yeah, they are. Let's put that on there. So it's saying like, if you had your own paletero cart, what would you sell on it? So they'd say like, oh, I would sell mangonada. And then the kids are like, oh, what's that? Tell me more. It's mango, and then they have the chili on top, and they have the tajin, and it's really delicious. All the kids are like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. Or other kids are like, I'm gonna ask my mom if I can have that. Where can I get some? So then we get all of that on there too. So it's like so much sharing and input from all of the kids. So this is all my handwriting right here, but the kids can easily like come up and this is all them. So they've written all of this and you can change it to text, which is really nice for my kiddos who maybe don't have the best handwriting, that you can't quite read what it says. Now all of a sudden it's text, so that's making it more accessible to the rest of the class as well, which I love. Some other ways that I use it is a lot for phonics. So especially in second grade, like that's kind of the transition. A lot of the year I'm teaching the kids how to read. So then we can start moving into the comprehension piece and reading to learn versus learning to read. So we do a lot of phonics.